Welcome back. Ready time now for game number 3, the decider between Natit Gaming as well as Signature.Trust. We're here in the Summit 3 SE8 qualifiers. I'm GoDz, joined by by Blaze. Sorry, buddy. How you doing?
It's all right, man.
It's early in the morning for me as well as you.
Certainly, yeah. It's actually really early by you, but it's been a good match of Dota. It's enough to keep the adrenaline rolling. So I'm expecting a lot in this game 3 here. I'm looking forward to it. And you were tweeting out, no Morphling, no win. Well, we've got ourselves a Morphling. Whether it'll be the carry or the offlane for Winter, we'll have to see. But it is a very impactful hero, and the axe does slip through. That's going to be an interesting one to look at here. Is maybe Boombell Lion again with those Mad Earth spikes, and then axe will be picked up by ABBA or by the other support.
I feel like this is just going to be that offlane Morphling again. It worked. It fits so nicely with the Shadow Fiend. Last time around, they won't get the Skywrath, which was a pretty important hero to follow up the stun, but we'll see which other directions they take with it. Winter's played this so many times as an offlaner and support that he knows the kind of heroes that fit well. Heroes that can throw a lot of burst damage or at least set up spells from afar. Mirana's quite nice, as it does give kind of a nice little guaranteed follow-up 5-second arrow as well. So it's like 9 seconds of stuns if you time it right on a single target. So there are some other nice heroes you can look to synergize with the Morphling. And considering they picked up the Shadow Fiend, I don't really see the ability to run the Shadow Fiend and Morphling as like 2 separate carries.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that overall. But one thing is they're going to be lacking damage quite a bit here. I think that Signature.Trust really figured out the draft and the idea behind what the Heat were drafting in Game 1, and they're banning out the Skywrath and the Troll. Those are the 2 key picks that gave them the damage output they needed when they ran the Morphling in Game 1. So it is still going to be a lot of control, but the damage follow-through may be comparatively lackluster. Like, what do you actually pick here as a damaging support when you don't have the Skywrath as the option? I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I mean, see what the plan is going to be. Like, here's like your Venge, but they don't really have the good follow-up damage for the Adaptive Strike. Maybe you're just more relying on the Shadow Fiend. The Mirana I mentioned, like, you can have like a setup for the arrow, but again, Mirana's not going to do quite the same burst damage of a Skywrath Mage, so they do need something which is going to bring some good damage to the table. I feel like a Queen of Pain's another good option. We saw last time you can run the Queen of Pain in the safe lane with like a Queen of Pain Shadow Fiend dual core, kind of like what Secret were doing through a lot of DAC. That's kind of like another option you can take. But the other thing is you just say, screw it, this isn't going to work. Let's run Morphling as a safe lane farmer. But it does feel like that's maybe too greedy with the Shadow Fiend there as well. But Shadow Fiend can play that more utility mid hero, go for the mech, the Yule's Blink type build. Doesn't have to be playing as that main carry.
Yeah, it'll be pretty interesting. One thing that I really... Oh, they are actually going for the Witch Doctor, so that's a support that can add situationally a lot of damage if he's not stunned, but you got 3 stuns already on the field, one of them going through immunity, one of them going through invis, or both of them actually, so it's tough to make the Witch Doctor work here, but I definitely could see its value. An interesting interaction here is going to be Morphling's Replicant versus Axe. If he can get that steal, you can actually jungle with the Axe Illusion. The counter helix can do some work, but Lion has that mana drain, which can break that illusion very, very quickly. So it's going to be hard for him to really take advantage of that, but if he does, it's a nice little extra boost in his GPM, and we'll see. But yeah, opening up Axe Lion, you can bring this draft so many different ways. You can go to the kind of older Juggernaut pickup. That's really strong in this situation. That would be also really good against the Witch Doctor with the Omni Slash.
And something you
really
mentioned between the games was this is the stage where you ban Wisp against Signature.Trust, which is what Natit Gaming went for in that second stage. You gave him Wisp Tiny twice. Game 1, you beat it. Game 2, they showed, okay, let's switch up the Wisp player, and Shiro just did some serious work there, and it's like, you don't want to risk it come Game 3.
Looks like it's going to be a Spectre game then, man. I've been looking at Lakel's heroes, and with the Wisp banned out and Tiny off the table, he only has like 4 other heroes that he picks. Juggernaut is still an option, but Medusa is not, Troll is not. So it's either the Ember Spirit, the Morphling, of course, is taken. So yeah, the Spectre, I think, is what it's going to be. It synergizes really well with AA, and they can certainly create the space for him with the Axe. It's also a hero that, even if you get... goes back. I haven't seen this in a while, but... Yeah, that'll work. He hasn't played this for a full month. Has not played. I mean, he has, like I said, has only played about a dozen games in the past month, but none of those have featured the Anti-Mage. But this is a pretty old school classic for him, and if you can make sure that the Lion always mana drains his Replicant really quickly, this could be a very powerful pick.
Yeah, it makes that bands like the Troll, the Scarith make a bit more sense when you see the Anti-Mage. Let's see what Natit Gaming go for. I mean, they could run the Morphling as a carry to match up against the Anti-Mage in the late game. It's another kind of replica target. But again, we've got the Lion who's got Mana Drain, who's got Hex to deal with those replicate illusions. So you can't really use an Axe or an Anti-Mage replicate in a fight as long as Lion's alive. That's just not really an option. So makes me wonder if Natit Gaming may go a different direction. You mentioned the Jug earlier as a possibility for Signature.Trust. I feel like that's also a possibility for Natit Gaming. Gets banned out, though. One of the few carries, I mean, these Troll Jug are like those man-fighting carries which just match up so well against Anti-Mage in general. These high physical damage heroes, and both of those.
How would you feel about a Slardar here?
Yeah, I think it's decent. The amp damage against Axe, against Anti-Mage, make these heroes a lot squishier. Then you've got minus armor stacking from the SF as well. Physical damage from your Witch Doctor ultimate. Could definitely work.
I mean, it's more likely they'll just go for like a PA or something that's just like more consistent results. But I don't know. I kind of feel the Slardar a little bit. I think that would be really nice to get that guarantee. I mean, you have already the really good stun from Adaptive Strike. That's plenty of time to have the amplified damage on the Anti-Mage and just to plow into him with a couple of right clicks. But we'll see. They have a full minute to kind of ponder it, so there's a lot of physical damage heroes out there. I mean, even a Drow Ranger wouldn't be too bad considering they have 3 ranged heroes.
Yeah, that actually seems like one of the maybe more decent options. There is some jump, a lot of just jump pick-off potential. Anti-Mage with Blink, Axe, and Lion, both Blink builders. You've got your kind of long-range Ice Blast, so there's a lot of spells which give problems to your Drow Ranger, but we'll see what Natit Gaming have in mind for that last pick. And I mean, the Drow wouldn't have to do it all on her own is, I think, one of the big things there, so we'll see. The Earthshaker picker from Natit Gaming, good for helping secure Shadow Fiend a decent time in the mid lane, and it will be the PA, the kind of more just safe and standard option you kind of mentioned, and looked like that'll be the hero for Psionics in the safe lane.
Yep, so no, like, I don't know, 15-second chain stuns coming out, but we still get a lot of good damage output on top of the disable we were talking about. We were worried that this Morphling during the Adaptive Strike would just be delaying the fights rather than actually contributing to some kills, but with the PA, if somebody is stunned underneath a PA for 4.25 seconds, you're going to find a crit in there, and that's going to be a kill. So I think there's a lot of good potential here. Does have to worry about the Axe a little bit, but overall, I think they'll be able to give Psionics the space he needs. I mean, we saw how much CS he was able to get in Game 2, even under the amount of pressure that came out from Signature.Trust. So I have some pretty high expectations, but it might be an MKB that has to be purchased by a lot of heroes this game, because you got the Blur passive that you're fighting against if you're the Anti-Mage, and now you're fighting against the Drunken Haze and Brawler against MyPro's Brew, which is actually one of his best heroes in my mind.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It is one of those things where I remember going back even like a year or so or 6 months ago where PA was generally picked when against anti-mages as one of like the better heroes against the anti-mage, but that was when Black was like, I verse this hero all the time in my pub games. I just realized you just got to go MKB, because anti-mages used to just refuse to go MKB even when there was a PA on the other team, and Black was like, dude, you just got to suck it up and build an MKB, even if it's not one of your staple Battle Fury, Manta, Abyssal Blade, Heart, Butterfly type items. You gotta just tweak your build. You go your Butterfly, your Battle Fury into your Manta style, but then MKB has to either come as that 3rd item or maybe your 4th item after some kind of other battle item. But that's where, I mean, you mentioned the anti-mage MKB as well as the PA one. Yeah, PA likely gonna need one as well against the Brewmaster.
So overall, I don't feel like this is that great of an anti-mage game. Like, you have the hard stuns coming out from the supports and from Winter, and you really don't have a good mana void target. Like, there's nobody with a massive mana pool. You're going to be able to interrupt some like a channel maybe with the mana void, but overall, like, getting a kill, I guess it will be frustrating for Winter because he's a pretty mana-dependent hero before the Soul Ring comes out, so just a couple of right-clicks on him, and Winter won't be able to do as much in the early game as he did in game number 1, but overall, I just don't feel like this is really the game that you desperately need an anti-mage.
Well, it seems to trust seeing a bit of a trap here down at the bottom bounty rune. 2 heroes waiting in the Roshan pit, and 2 heroes on the high ground being the AA and the Brewmaster. Looking to secure that level 1 bounty rune, but it's Natit Gaming off in that Radiant Jungle. Going to get down some early wards, try to go for a sweep through. They're going to see the anti-mage from the high ground here. Problem is, he does it blink. Can they chain stun him down, though? We're going to look to lead things off with a Fissure, I imagine.
Yeah, no, not so much.
No. I mean, Fissure into Cask, yeah, I don't think you get that kill, but I guess you get some good damage off. Force out 2-3 tangos maybe. And they're going to go for the top bounty rune. So bottom bounty rune, pretty much in the clear for Signature.Trust.
Yeah, but if the Shadow Fiend's the one to acquire this first bounty rune, his bottle's going to come out at a great time, and he went for the raise build, so that's very important that he gets it. This is essentially just going to continue to infuse his mana pool, and I actually think it's pretty difficult for the Brewmaster here. Like, even if the Brewmaster goes for a value point in Haze build, he's not going to stop the Shadow Fiend from raise CSing, and he's actually going to be harassed back pretty heavily. I mean, he's going to get his bottle out soon, too, so he'll be able to crow and things of that nature, but overall, the Shadow Fiend will always have his lane pushed out, and it's going to be difficult to roam on him. So overall, I think NJ is going to be pretty happy in this laning environment, and my pro's Blink Dagger won't be the fastest of times.
So bottom lane looks like the PA going to be up against an Axe for now. Does have some support from a nearby Witch Doctor, but Earthshaker starting things out in the top lane. Winter has pretty much an impossible lane, and that's where the Earthshaker is kind of needed up here. But lane equilibrium already not looking too good for Natit Gaming, and this is where normally you would see like that level 1 Earthshaker like fissure block on the creep wave so that the creeps meet much closer to the Radiant Tower. Maybe something he still needs to consider, because right now this lane's pushed up very far. Winter hexed up the chilling touch damage. This is looking like a first blood. There's no fissure available. Gets the waveform off just barely. Still does not have a fissure, and the Blink Anti-Mage gets the kill. First blood, Lakells. Oh boy.
Yeah, I think they probably should have used that fissure that we saw between the line and the AA, probably just to block creeps. Like, I don't think the Morphling dies there, but if he ever has to continuously go into this position on the lane, like, passing that line is his death. Because, again, this hero has 285 base movement speed. Sure, you have this kind of free blink out in the invulnerability frame of the waveform, as well as a really tanky HP pool. But as you can see, he actually went enough into Agi to kind of commit to some CS on the lane. And as such, he will go down pretty quickly to that Chilling Touch.
Well, 2-minute runes now coming out. Earthshaker camping out the top one, but here come support rotations. Earthshaker sees Brew from the south, AA from the north, and they're going to clap, they're going to Chilling Touch, force out a fissure, and bounty rune secured for MyPro, who will refill his bottle with the bounty rune. There's a haste rune down bottom, and we'll see if the offlaner doesn't look like Arbor's headed down there towards it just yet. Will be secured by Rogi for his Shadow Fiend in the mid lane.
Looks like they're going to make an attempt on the Axe here. I mean, they've got the Earthshaker rotating, but he's got a nice Dire Observer ward. It's a very rare spot. I think you even have to cut down a tree for it, but in this case, it's going to give him all the vision he needs. He can just walk away from the lane. Yeah. He's given PA some trouble, and that's all he really needs to do other than getting experience. And meanwhile, up top, Winter's really having a tough time. Looking at his strength to Agi ratio, right now the base is 23 to 30. Do you feel it should be a little bit higher in strength?
I think he hasn't touched it. I don't think he normally changes it that much early on.
Okay.
I think he looks to conserve his mana. Bottom lane, they do end up getting the kill on the Axe here, the Witch Doctor, the Earthshaker, but I think it's okay. I think the main thing is he's looking to conserve mana. He doesn't want to just go to all this strength.
He died though, right? Like, he had the morph in the well, and he kind of just immediately TP'd to the lane. I feel that was a bit reflexive, and if he had just that free mana from the fountain, he could have actually gotten at least a little bit more in strength.
Definitely possible. I don't know on that one.
Yeah, it comes down to him having more experience than us in it, so you kind of have to say in Winter we trust in that regard.
Yeah. So a nice little kill on the Axe here. That's an important one to get. You don't want this Axe to have too good of a time in the offlane, get that fast blink. He hasn't rotated to that offlane yet. He's going to once again come back down bottom, commit to this offlane, but phase boots on a PA does spell a very aggressive build coming out from Psionics, who can continue to pressure this Axe should Axe try and get too much out of this lane.
So we're going to be seeing the Shadow Fiend looking for the bottom rune. Axe is in that general area, but I think he's learned just a lesson not to overextend too far. Like, he saw the Earthshaker rotate, he backed off, and then he went back to the lane and got hit by a lot. Now we're seeing
again. Yeah, they're going to Maledict up Abba and stifling dagger, couple right clicks with that Maledict. Goodbye, Axe. That's level 2 Maledict here. I like the build from Rogi. This is what you do against some of these pesky offlane heroes like your Axe, your Bristleback. Level 3, you have a second point in Maledict, and that damage will catch him by surprise if you have a troll or a PA, some kind of an aggressive carry hero that can follow up with some good damage.
Yep, so really nice kills there, and I think he's just really confident because he has good ward vision, but just underrating how much can really be done to him if he's off tower. The Stifling Dagger slow, it's a very short cooldown, and it's a long duration slow, so he's just taking a lot of hits that he doesn't expect, and meanwhile in the mid, we see the Shadow Fiend going down despite the fissure.
Yeah, vision not enough there to save his life, so Will be a kill on the Shadow Fiend, and nice little smoke gank. Thought he had the protection from the Dire Observer. Oh, that's a Dire Observer Ward. Sorry, what am I talking about? The Radiant Observer Ward not really covering that lane at all right now. And the smoke gank finds the kill on the Shadow Fiend, who was farming pretty decently. 23 CS to the 19 of the Brewmaster. We'll just TP back in and even bottle up Ice on the Earthshaker to give him that little bit of extra mana to play around with. Has got some stacks in his jungle here, so SF, the one death isn't going to hurt his overall farm too much. He's going to keep coming back to this lane, using those razors to push things out, and then probably look to fall back to the jungle when possible to get that even more safe, secure farm.
And Antimage just going right on top of Winter here. He has no waveform at all. The Fissure will be coming in, but Lakelz is still willing to tank all these hits here. Winter just doesn't do enough damage to threaten him. Lakelz has the Ring of Health to Tangos, and he's going to force Winter back to base without really risking too much of himself.
Yeah.
Down bottom, though, that last tick Maledict might be enough. The Sev putting him over the edge. He will survive with 100 HP.
Here comes MyPro with an Invis room. Was scouted out with the both teams having vision of that bottom room, but it looks like they may have not realized it. PA goes blinking past onto the axe. Here's MyPro. Gets the clap. Doesn't actually get the right click because of the blur, but they kill the PA. The Brewmaster rotation maybe not entirely being spotted out there despite the Radiant having that Observer Ward vision. PA still getting very aggressive in bottom lane and somewhat unnecessarily.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to even hear another call come out on the bottom just to clear out creeps, and Abbott's going to be feeling a lot better with these Tranquil Boots up. Like, he's been killed off multiple times, but that's going to stop with these Tranquil Boots. And we actually see Ice in a bit of a precarious position. He will be getting at one stun off, but then they'll turn around with the Air Spike and a lot of Chilling Touch damage.
Yeah, Ice is, I guess, able just to keep on running out of this one. There's Ice Vortex as a couple. He's got mana for even one more if he wants to go for this one. And Ice,
Ooh,
hide in those trees. They see you can't use that spot. 2 Chilling Touch attacks. They get the kill. Oh, can't help but think he maybe could have played that one a little bit differently.
It's tough. I mean, he was wanting to be involved in the mid lane, and they happened upon him in that situation. So it's just a kind of an unfortunate circumstance that if he had a TP, obviously he could have played it differently. But as it was, he just was running around with the 360 MS. But a lot committed to the mid lane here in case MyPro tries something funny. But I think MyPro is actually content to just farm the rest of the laning stage because he's actually very close to the Blink Dagger. So just rushing it out at 1650 gold banked up. He's gotten 2 kills, and that's plenty for Brew's laning stage. The split is on cooldown. He just wants to find the blink and make sure that he has the blink for the next split.
The Axe now, with some nice little neutral stacks going on, is going to look to farm things up there to start working on his Blink Dagger, deciding the offlane is not somewhere where he really wants to be. As AA even going to lay down an Ice Vortex, which is not going to do too much as far as amplifying that spin damage, but not going to even help Act by tanking it up. Uh-oh. There we go. Just barely wins the man fight against the neutrals.
Yeah, and a lot of people actually talk about the Tranquil dropping and like whether or not it's actually worth it. In most situations, it's actually not. Like if you're tanking a triple sec, you just want the armor. Like you get so much more mitigation that way. But Berserker's Call math makes that a little funny because for a few seconds there, you get the bonus 40. Actually, nice play by Winter there. I love that grab, actually. Stunning out MyPro away from a haste rune, which on a Brewmaster, bottling that's almost a guaranteed kill. So he goes, he stuns back the Brewmaster, waves in, and although he did get hexed, Hex does not prevent you from picking up runes, so he just hastes away.
More big neutral stacks, and Arba gonna get another one here. Again, dropping the Tranquil Boots. Gonna get nice spins off of this. And if you can survive it, you get the fast HP regen, I guess, from the Tranquils, so you have slightly less downtime, but yeah, you take a lot more damage, I guess.
Yeah, it's just like, even in a situation like a double stack, it's like even between the amount of HP you mitigate versus the amount of HP you heal within the 13-second cooldown. But a triple stack or more, it's usually better not to drop it at all. But no matter the case, he's having great time here in the jungle. Brewmaster's going to have his blink soon, and the Axe will follow shortly after.
Yeah. Okay. So, looking at some of these other lanes, on the Radiant side, Psionics is gone for that Ring of Health. Possibly going to see a Battle Fury build out of your PA. Not entirely unheard of, but not sure. I mean, I guess it's saying so he can keep up in farm with your Anti-Mage to some extent. He doesn't want to just fall behind the Anti-Mage. It looks like Natit Gaming are going to be happy to contest like a late game kind of game with Signature.Trust rather than try and man fight early with a PA with a Shadow Fiend. If Shadow Fiend want to go for, he is going for the fast mech, but looks like the PA is going to gear towards that late game stage.
Lakelz and Winter are just dancing out on this top lane. Like every single time, even under tower, Lakelz is looking to burn the Morphling's mana to force him back home. But still, like, Winter's been dodging and juking and jiving as best he can to keep his pool alive well enough to get out of there. So he's found his level 5 in the off lane. He's got his Tranquil Boots Bassi, that kind of opener that you would expect from him. And I think he's actually going to start to look to roam. Maybe get a kill on the Brewmaster would be really strong for them. But MyPro, he's got the goal for the blink if he doesn't fall here.
Well, we'll see how he does.
Pops the Primal Split. Will go on to Shadow Fiend. I don't think he gets a kill. Just kind of keeping himself alive. That was a double raise against him.
Keep the Earth Panda alive, distract with the Fire and the Wind Panda, and Seth will pick up a mech and get out of there. So MyPro, he'll survive, can go back to base, pick up his Blink Dagger. Won't have Primal Split, which is, I guess, slightly pesky, but Brew actually still a decent ganker around the 10-minute mark, even without Primal Split up. Just the Blink Clap. Top lane, meanwhile, they're going to go in on Shiro on the Ancient Apparition here with the Witch Doctor Maledict, a couple more right clicks. This is going to be a kill on the AA. Nothing going the other way here. Anti-Mage actually considering a blink in. He's going to blink forward. One right click and a Mana Void. That's it. PA actually TP'd though, and this is a level 4 blink though, so Lakel's should be fine to be able to get out of this one. Elsewhere, it was your Lion going down at mid lane to a Fissure plus raises.
Yep, nice combo there. Obviously, NJ just having naturally a lot of damage output despite going for a very defensive build, and Ice setting him up for that, getting some much-needed experience. So overall, one thing I'll note, Anti-Mage taking a lot of hits here from the PA. Goes back to the lane, but Sionix pursuing the Stifling will connect, and it is going to be enough damage with the Fissure.
Okay, that's one way to shut down an Anti-Mage. So, a couple big kills in succession there. Natit Gaming just finding stuff all over the map. They only lose their Witch Doctor to an Anti-Mage, but get the Anti-Mage in return. They do have to be concerned about this Axe blink timing. 11 minutes in, pretty good. And it's timed with the Brewmasters. They've got 2 blinks online at a very dangerous time of this game. The good news is SF is tanky. He's got Treads, Mech, Ogre Club. He is going to be hard to bring down, especially with an Earthshaker sitting behind him.
Exactly. He knows he has time to pop the mech if he needs to with the help of the Fissure, so he's perfectly confident moving around and looking to control this top rune. There is going to be an Ice Blast already primed for this play, though, and at least the Earthshaker is going to be taken out of the fight.
Yeah, it looks like there's no contest over that one. Not enough numbers there for Signature.Trust. The Axe not quite healed up as well. He picked up his Blink Dagger, but still waiting for that Tranquil regen to properly kick in. But now smoked up. MyPro kind of off at the bottom lane, but he's got a TP score ready to take the fight. Possible big 5v5 engagement up top is brewing. Vision kind of not fit. Radiant Vision is pretty good in this jungle trio. They're going to catch the Axe with a stun. Before he can blink out, the Fissure to follow. They're going to do damage as well. He can't blink. The PA blinks on the Axe. Who's jumping on who? The Brewmaster split comes in, but the Axe is going to go down to the Maledict. That's the first casualty of the fight. PA is not done. What's the Ancient Apparition next? With the help of the Morphling, should be able to get it waveform through. Down goes your AA. Can they get Vision for the Lion? Lion completely out of mana. It's the Anti-Mage
wow.
getting a kill, but he pays for it with his life. That Witch Doctor Death Ward, look at it continue and continue to go. Gets 2 kills on Anti-Mage and Brewmaster. Only Lion left alive. He managed to kind of sneak past undetected to get out from underneath the tier 1 tower. But a big teamfight victory for Natit.
As soon as the split ended, the Echo Slam Death Ward came out. The supports were able to finish off that fight, and it was just perfect timing coming out from Natit. I was actually really impressive there. If you just look at the disables that came out against Lakel's on the Anti-Mage, like, he was out of the fight for so long. Ice, actually, maybe Ice Blast coming out on him. Oh, TPing away the last hit. He'll drop very low, but I don't know if it's to 94 HP.
It's enough. Oh, 948.
It is.
Oh, yeah,
just barely. Yeah. Just barely. 94 HP is that threshold, and yeah, he just drops down to 89 with the second to last tick. So, wow. That is an unfortunate finish, but no matter the case, I really like how Natit played that one. They had a lot of chain disables on the Anti-Mage, and when you think about it, since they actually brought down the Axe really early in that fight, only the Brewmaster and the Anti-Mage were the ones to be dealing damage. The Brewmaster you can't really control because he has a split out and he has so many sources of damage, but the Anti-Mage, they locked him down hard. 4.25 seconds from the first adaptive strike, getting caught in by a couple of Earthshaker stuns. Like, Anti-Mage just didn't have the opportunity to do what he wanted to in that engagement.
Axe is just one of those very important heroes at this stage of the game for those team fights. Getting off that good blink call initiation and getting that first culling blade, that's movement speed and attack speed for your entire team, or at least all the heroes around you. And a team fight can quickly snowball within, like, your team can just snowball within one team fight off of that first culling blade. You get one culling blade, so often you see 2, 3, 4 in one fight.
Lakel is getting adaptive struck. They won't have vision immediately, but it's such a long stun that they can just triple raise him.
The cast.
And that, Yeah, that one point of spell shield is just not going to be sufficient. Like, he has treads, tankiness, he has spell shield. There's usually enough to buy time to blink away, but with that long duration stun, I really don't feel like this is the AM game.
15 minutes, no Battle Fury. That's a bit of a worry if you're Lakel's this game. Especially in this kind of one-core lineup. You've got two initiating kind of utility heroes in the Brewmaster and the Axe. Brew can kind of fill that semi-carry role to some extent. At least the Vlad's AC can give him some good kind of scaling capabilities. But he's not really looking all too fond on the Brewmaster. Has picked up a Robe of the Magi. Curious to see what he goes for with this. Maybe just some treads or a drums. But those are much smaller items than he needs to be going for right now. It feels like he needs that kind of Vlad's BKB AC type build.
Oh, definitely.
As soon as possible. I guess the treads is kind of part of that build, but right now, not really sure what he's buying.
Yeah, just kind of wants a buff of the mana pool right now, I think, and then he'll turn it into something else. But going in for the Blink Clap right onto Shadow Fiend, splits immediately so they can't respond, but they've got all 5 heroes here.
Haba looking for that blink call, goes blinking past onto the Shadow Fiend. Again, he's so full HP. Nice Fissure going to come out. Pops the wand as well. The Ice Blast just wasn't really there on the SF. All these heals from NJ. He's just too damn tanky. Brings down the 5-pound in My Pro now. Gets locked in place by another Echo Slam. And don't even need the Death Ward. They kill off 2. That just doesn't work. If
they did not
blast,
expect 5.
I think that's a good play if you have an Ice Blast. But SF gets Mech and a 15-1 charge off. You're not killing it.
No, not at all. And the Voodoo Restoration, even just a little bit of trickling health pool here. We're going to see a stun come out. They have the range to bring down AA, and now they have the vision.
Yeah. Psionics, Battle Fury, Phase Boots, 1,200 gold. That is worrying when this PA is well ahead of the Anti-Mage on farm. Picks up an Ogre Club now as well to start working on a BKB of his own. Well, Anti-Mage falling behind by good margin. Top lane Boom Bell. Goodbye. Maledict will be more than enough.
Takes him down, steals some mana on the way out, but Raji's going to teleport home. And Earthshaker, again, is the one left behind enemy lines, has the TP, and should be able to use it. So, overall, like, you got to examine this laning phase and say, okay, Lakel's actually had more farm than the PA. PA had a little bit of trouble with the Axe in the first few minutes of the game, and she was actually significantly behind the Anti-Mage. Like, I would say 800 gold behind in the ending of the laning phase, but those rotations, those massive stuns coming out from Winter, and suddenly Lakel's Battle Fury is delayed to the 17-minute mark. Like, he farmed so well at the beginning of the game, and then suddenly just facing so many issues. But they do deward here. They actually open up their eastern part of the Dire Jungle, and they feel a lot better about themselves as far as securing Lakel's more farm, but he's going to need it this game. I mean, the Ice Blasts, as you mentioned, have not been on point. Both critical fights towards the top lane, the Ice Blast pretty much completely whiffed.
Yeah. We'll see what Signature.Trust's next move may be. I feel like they, as much as these team fights and ganks aren't working, they have to keep going at it. They need these 4 heroes need to be fighting with their blink daggers, going for smokes. The Finger of Death is probably one of the big spells they are waiting for, but they have to try find a clean engagement and a pick off on one of the carries. And SF's getting tankier and tankier. It's still killable if you hit him with an Ice Blast and you burst him down during a blink call Finger of Death.
I don't know. He just got his BKB, dude. I'm not even sure about that anymore.
It's going to get harder. This nice PA Replicate going forward kind of could act as a bit of a bait here, but right now it's just going to get some good scouting vision of what Signature.Trust are up to.
Yeah, just gets a good idea. Lakel's, where does the Anti-Mage actually find farm now? Because we actually saw him farming the enemy jungle, like Lakel's likes to do. But the second that the Observer Ward saw the Morphling, he had to back off, because he knows that anybody behind that Morphling, the Adaptive Strike means he's dead. So where does he actually securely find this farm?
Well, for now, it's going to be someone in the enemy jungle with his own teammates' support. So the Smoke is going to head down here. But both teams gearing up to run right into one another. SF in the front lines here. The Blink Hole catches up, including the Witch Doctor. Fissure comes. SF needs to mech, but doesn't do so before the Ice Blast hit. Gets off the BKB. Not going to wreck him right away. Should maybe just... Okay, Mana Void's there to cancel it anyways. Witch Doctor, his ulti gets cancelled. 2 for 3 trade, though. Still not a fight going well for Signature.Trust. They're going to lose 4 now. The 5th likely to happen as well, with PA showing up, rocking up, and just cleaning up. The Storm Panda will throw the Morphling into the air. Fissure, can he time it to cancel this blink? It's going to be tricky to do so and unlikely to succeed. No.
He actually goes against Roche. No bash, no bash. Oh, that would have been really frustrating if they got fully wiped off of such a good initiation. I mean, that's the best you can hope for, is a 2-man call with the Ice Blast to follow through on the SF. He knew that he was going down to the point that he didn't even pop the DD rune. Like, he has a double damage rune inside his BKB. And he doesn't pop because he's like, I'm dead in like 3 seconds
Yeah.
anyways. But they still did a lot of damage, and in the end, the best initiation they could hope for still just doesn't suffice when it comes down to Natit's counter engage.
We'll see what the next move's going to be there. Could have maybe gone for the Rec Room. I think he held on. There was an Anti-Mage Mana Void to cancel it, but a BKB Rec Room, I think if he used it right away, Anti-Mage wasn't even there and ready to cancel it.
Yeah.
SF still got a lot of good damage done just with the raises on the after the core wore off. But right now he is going to use the DD, smokes up with the PA. Hello, Roshan. Something that Signature.Trust are unlikely to scout out, and they're not really prepared to fight. They haven't got the Primal Split. They haven't got Finger of Death. This is just something that's going to go, for one thing, undetected, and for a second thing, even if they knew exactly what was going down, they probably couldn't stop.
No cooldowns. They don't have the Brewmaster Split, and they need that for every single fight they engage in. So we're just going to see that go down quite easily, and the Aegis will go to the SF, with the Golden Experience split among 3. So, yeah, they're really looking forward to making use of that, and they're going to start with Boom Bell.
Well, Boom Bell, it's a long 4-second stun. The follow-up's pretty far away, though. Stifling Dagger and a Fissure, they just managed to clip him in SF with a C-Raise and bring him down.
Yeah, the range of these heroes is pretty insane. Fissure, Stifling, and the long-range Raise are all really good spells for closing, for when Winter goes for those long-range plays. And with the Blink Dagger, that's going to even extend their range of initiation. So right now, they can very confidently go for the Tier 2s. Like, no outer tier tower is safe when the SF has that Aegis. Like, suddenly, he's fearless, he has his 36 souls back, and they only get a Tier 1 on bottom in exchange. The Kells will look for the Tier 1 top, while the rest are pushing in right to the high ground.
Yeah, you see Lakel's top, you go in this high ground, you force the Brew the Axe to make a play happen, make them go in, try to avoid like a 3-hero call, 2-hero calls may be okay, but anything more than that you want to try avoid, and
it's all on this Ice Blast, really.
Yeah. Looks like SF just gonna be the one on the high ground alone now, just playing things safe, especially. No, Antimage is still pushing the top lane. Here comes your Ice Blast. Gonna catch the back lines. In goes the Brewmaster. Possibly Roger gonna be the target here on the Witch Doctor. Throws a cast, bouncing around the Brewmaster split, stunning them well, and Arbor goes down on the axe. Roger's still alive. The Ice Blast is not enough there. The Impale hits too nicely. The Cyclone to follow, but this is nothing.
He isn't coming back. They're buying back on the axe rather than just TPing the AM.
I mean, Antimage is just like, what am I going to do if I come fight right now, I guess, but at this point it's like you fight or you lose racks.
Yeah.
They're making a decision just to say, okay, we're going to lose racks. Psionic's going to preemptively BKBs just to secure the melee racks. I don't really mind this moves because the melee racks at 22 minutes in is a huge edge for them right now. My Pro as well as Arbor going. Nice Fissure going to come. Winter, can he morph to any more strength? Blink, Echo Slam, Ice brings down the Axe, and Brewmaster as well. He's low, he's going to go down to the SF, and that's a range rack secured.
In the end, it's just a Morphling. Like that's an offlane Morphling. That is not the hero you need to break down in this situation. Like, you want to wipe them out on your high ground, at least get a couple of core kills, but the Morphling barely qualifies. He's got his Blink Dagger. He does not care about his farm, and he doesn't give that much gold away. Like, they only end up 124 positive. I'm not sure if that counts the buyback, but it certainly is a dieback for the Axe. Like, he is back down to 800 gold. They lose both their racks, and if you actually look at the graphs here, like, there's going to be a giant spike for Natit. Like, the racks actually give a really large amount of team-wide gold now, and all across the board, Natit are just dominating now, even with Lakel's pushing a couple of Tier 2s.
The Tier 1 and the Tier 2 he got at the top lane doesn't seem to amount to too much. And Lakel's, he's getting close to that Manta Style. Manta Style is really the timing where he can at least come to a fight and look to maybe burst down someone in a call a bit better, but it's still very tricky for him. And I think that's, yeah, Yasha picked up, just needs a Manta recipe. We'll have it for the next base defense, but there's still an Aegis on NJ, and there's still a good duration. 2 minutes left. They're going to have this for another lane of racks, at least another attempt.
And still no finger, because the line's not even 11. That cooldown is actually really long, and this is 80 seconds. They're not going to have it for the next fight.
Here we go. Natit Gaming looking to seal the deal in this Game 3 decider, and options running out for Signature.Trust.
Not a bad blast, but they can't even follow it up. It's just a delay.
I feel like you've got to save the blast as well. If you're gonna, you can't just use it to delay right now. Gonna start things off. The Adaptive Strike comes in. They blow up the Axe again. Without this Axe, makes team fighting so much more difficult for the Tide team. They've also used the Brewmaster Split to kind of defensively for no avail. There's just no follow-up. They have no Ice Blast, no Finger of Death. Both supports are essentially useless right now. And again, your Antimage not really deciding to fight. He hasn't even got a TP scroll.
Oh no!
Mid saying, look, you guys do what you can do. I can't help. I got no TP for one thing, but even if I did have one, like, what am I meant to do here? They're going to lose a second lane of Rax here. It's going to be a full melee and range Rax. It looks like the Ice Blast goes in, and there's no Brewmaster split, no Axe for 10 seconds. This is looking like possibly the nail in the coffin. AA picks up a Midas, another really questionable pickup.
That's just not going to happen. We're going to see Sionix not even allow the transmute to come into play, and yeah, this is 2 lanes down completely. At this point, if there's any hope for Signature.Trust, it comes at like the 55-minute mark, and we're here at 25. I'm about to see the last lane fall. The Aegis usage here, just the threat of the Aegis on the Shadow Fiend has made it so they can just completely dominate, and through it, it really is Signature.Trust just flopping against that. I mean, they haven't called GG yet. They still, this is their tournament life on the line, but
I'm just wondering what's going on within this team. Like, you pick up a Midas on your AA as your Rax's, your second lane of Rax goes down. Seems like you want to be buying an item to actually help you fight right now. If you're down four Rax or 2 lanes of Rax, you need, like, just get a 4-staff or a Vlad's or something. And similarly, Antimage just hitting neutral creeps right now. It's like, you've got your Mantis style. Like, what more are you going to get at this point? Like,
he was waiting for 3 a.m. I don't really know. I think the TP, lack of TP, is a pretty big mistake. But he feels like he can't invest anything else.
It feels like this is one of those games where it's like, is there some like internal conflicts going on? Just things are not going quite right here. Antimage
it feels publish. Honestly, like you would see this in pub game where it's like, oh, we're losing, just GG end mid. I'm gonna farm the jungle for a while.
It really feels. It's very reminiscent of pub game where like the Antimage is like, oh, end fast, go mid. I'm gonna AFK. But obviously, Myth.Trust and Signature.Trust are not a team to give up. This is one of those teams who will always kind of play things out to the end, and they made the decision that, look, Lakel's isn't really able to fight. Let's just get him as much farm as possible and defend the last lane. Mega Creeps is GG right now. You've got an Anti-Mage, but this is 26 minutes in, about to be 27 minutes. This is not a 6-slotted Anti-Mage. There's no way you're winning this game if Mega Creeps get claimed in.
Well, I can tell you one thing. This Ice Blast is going to hit. Look at Shiro's positioning on the map. He's all the way across, as far as you can be, essentially. And he's going to hit like the perfect Ice Blast, but I don't know if it does anything. Even without the Aegis, SF has a Scotty.
Yeah, he's so tanky here. They're going to still try and burst him down here. The Ice Blast will help things out. He gets low gear, gets off the BKB Rec Room. That's going to be a full Rec Room on Arbor. Down he goes. And Anti-Mage is unable to do too much. He's in the middle of things. Brings down a Witch Doctor, but that's all he's going to do before he dies himself. Buyback not available. It's GG. Signature.Trust knocked out of the Summit 3 qualifiers by Natit Gaming. Pretty strong performance coming in from the Malaysian squad.
Yeah, really, really nice games with the Morphling in particular. Like, game 1 and 3 looked really strong for Natit. They do have to kind of shore up how they respond to situations against a Wisp. If they're not going to ban it, they need to play a little bit better around it, because it kind of felt like they were outgunned in game 2. They didn't really rotate as well as they could have. But if they go back, analyze that replay, look at what they did wrong, I feel this team can really pull through to even the finals of this qualifier, and hell, maybe even get a nice free ride over to LA.
Well, they're going to have to go through the winner of Arcanus and Execration, which is going to be our next best of 3. So that series coming up next. Winner of that one will be taking on Natit Gaming in kind of a deciding match to see who gets into the main stage of the SEA division here at the Summit 3. So guys, we're going to take a break. When we come back, that match is scheduled to take place in about an hour's time, I believe. We've had 3 quick games. I was like, wait, how is there an hour break before the next match? Wasn't this a 3-game series? But a lot of 20-minute games and little downtime. So it looks like there's going to be about an hour's break before the next series, guys. So hang around. That series will be coming up. An all Pinoy Dota affair. Execration versus Arcanus. Thanks everyone for tuning in. If you want to follow, support myself and my co-caster, you can follow me at BTSGods, but be sure to follow Blaze at BlazeCasting on Twitter. But we're going to take a break now. See you all soon.